It began as a kind of fairy tale. Louis Shabban, a South African immigrant, and Marianne Lamont, a divorced mother of two, met, fell in love, and married 5 years ago. Now Marianne has lung cancer, and Louis, the family's sole breadwinner, faces deportation for a seemingly minor infraction. Louis and Marianne are here this morning along with their immigration lawyer, Michael Wilds, who's also a councilman in Inglewood, New Jersey. Thank you, all of you, for joining us, and good morning.
Thank you.
Describe for us your meeting with Louis. You went into a bagel shop. You had just recently lost several members of your family.
Right, my entire family actually in a period of about 4 years passed away, and I was divorced, and I actually just went out to Arizona. I think I was running away. I was depressed.
You were living in New York and you went to Arizona, and you had your two children from your...
Well, actually my daughter was in college and my son was back with his dad. He was going to come back out to Arizona with me. And Lou was really my first friend out there. I was totally, completely alone.
And he was kind to you and helped you through the pain of all this loss?
Actually our first date was, I was alone and it was the Jewish holidays, and he knew that I had a Jewish background, and he actually invited me to his family's Passover Seder. He said, "I know you're alone." So that was how we really got together. He was like the first person that...
How would you describe your falling in love, Louis?
It's the best thing that ever happened to me. Marianne is the most kind, compassionate person, and she brings out the best in me, and I think it's likewise.
You had come from South Africa?
From South Africa. What had happened was I'd been armed robbed. I'd come out for my sister's wedding. I got 3 sisters who live here. One is a citizen and 2 have green cards. And I'd come out and I was traumatized what had happened. As soon as I got off the plane, just all this pressure lifted up, and I knew I was in the best country in the world.
You were here on a visa, right?
The tourist visa.
And what happened to that visa, Michael, that caused the problems that we're here to talk about today?
Louis overstayed a visa. He stayed here for 2 weeks, and some employee at a restaurant that he worked had ratted on the boss. Immigration came to raid the restaurant, and eventually he was picked up. He went through immigration proceedings in Phoenix, the case went to Boston, and finally came to our lap in New York. And he faces removal proceedings despite the fact that his wife is suffering from advanced cancer of the lung.
Last year, you were diagnosed with lung cancer.
Yes.
And you began chemotherapy treatments. And on the day you began chemotherapy was when you received a letter saying...
Deportation letter in the mail.
That Louis was going to be deported.
We actually got home from the chemo, and there was a letter in the mail, and he wouldn't even show it to me. He was hiding it, and I kept saying, "What is it? What is it?" And he opened it up, and actually the letter had been... He was supposed to have left the week before. We never even got the letter. We got the letter a week after it said he was supposed to leave the country. We knew nothing. We had never gotten any correspondence before that or anything. But
well, let me play devil's advocate with you for a moment, Louis. I mean, what do you tell the INS? I mean, the INS says you overstayed your visa and that it's time for you to go back to South Africa. Why shouldn't the INS deport you?
Because this is a compassionate country. We've tried everything to correct this matter. We went to the finest immigration law firm in the country, and even they can't get us out of this mess. It's not as if do you want on?
No, I was going to say, I think what happened is after we fell in love and we got married, we thought that he wouldn't have to leave the country. That's what we were told.
Well, isn't that true, Michael? I mean, they are married. Why would he be deported at this point?
Had immigration not come to them, any person who entered lawfully and overstayed a visa and married an American citizen, provided the marriage was bona fide and real, could get a green card. The fact is that immigration came to them, and by the time they came to our office, they had used their one bite at the apple to ask for the government for some relief. The fact is that the government is not set up as good as the people are that comprise the bureaucracy itself, but they're not set up when circumstances in people's lives change. And the rules are so that you only have 1, if not 2 bites at the apple, and then they don't care if people take ill. He did nothing untoward. He entered the United States, overstayed a visa, he's paying his taxes since he's here. He's a good citizen. And this should be granted, if only as a good courtesy, to Mrs. Shabban, who's an American citizen who should only be contending at this point with doctors, not government, not lawyers.
You know, the Immigration Naturalization Service issued this statement. We can't discuss specific cases because of privacy considerations. Our New York City office would be happy to set up an appointment with this individual and his lawyer to discuss available options. Have you set up that meeting?
We heard from Senator Schumer's office, who's been very kind to us on this case, and we made an application for them, which was summarily denied. An opportunity to sit down. Right now, the clock is ticking. We
The
don't
clock
have
is
time
ticking, though
to
the
sit.
INS has granted an extra year, and
Right.
so Lewis would not be deported until what, January 2002.
But what we're looking for right now is the government to accept a joint motion. That's the only vehicle we can do it, where our offices and the government at this point will agree to open the proceedings so he has another chance at the
Marianne,
apple.
how would you get along without Lewis if he were to be deported?
I wouldn't. I receive $750 a month in disability, and that's all. I can't work. And my health insurance.
He's supporting you? Lewis
yes,
is supporting
he's
you?
supporting me. And the health insurance that we pay is $850 a month. So forgetting having to eat or have a place to live, I don't even have enough disability to pay health insurance. So I don't know how I wouldn't get along.
And-
I mean, I would be homeless.
And this is while you're still unsure even of your prognosis from
Right.
the lung cancer.
If there's such a thing as a miracle. You know, I've been through a lot, and there's a lot of unexpected things that happen to people, and you deal with it. But I just feel that this is something that can be fixed. It's a miracle that can be fixed, and that's all I'm asking.
So the INS is listening. What do you say to the INS listening right now?
Nobody can fix my disease, or that's, you know, left up to God. But can they just fix this for us and give us an uneven chance?
On that note, we leave it, and we
Thank
wish you
you.
all the luck in the world in fighting your disease
Thank
and
you.
everything else. Marianne Lamont Shabban, thank you. Louis Shabban, thank you. And so much as well, thank you, Michael Watts, for joining us this morning. And up next, a real survivor story. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Hi, I'm Lee Iacocca. Two things in life have always been very important to me: a close family